All right, what a wonderful lyrics from Lagbaja or Mababam Komko. At least Tobi, it all ended on Saturday. The story, it is, it was, it will never, pictures or no pictures, situation,
Packaged or not
package or not
packaged.
package, all ended on Saturday. We welcome Mr. President back to Nigeria. Well, the next step is looking forward. We've crossed the Rubicon now. Let's begin to see how Canaan land will be. Dele Ayodo is my name. I welcome you once again to the Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM here in the city of Bekuta. Another beautiful Monday morning.
And I am Toby Joseph. Just like Dele said earlier, it is another dawn. Yes, let's say a new dawn. Actually, when you going forward, we have just about a little bit about 2 years for this administration of President Muhammadu Buhari. But speculations were rife, rumors were peddled, hate speeches here and there, some even wishing the president dead. And I think that was actually a red line, just as Mr. President said, and that many people crossed. Some even did not believe that he was alive. Many were even proposing that he was dead. Some proposed that maybe he was on life support. Some doubted many pictures and photo ops that the 8 governors and chairman of the APC actually had with the president. But of course, he's back in the country and he addressed the nation and the world this morning in a 6 minute nationwide broadcast. He talked about a whole lot of things, very short, straight to the point, and precise. And of course, many people would say that I think it addressed the many endless agitations for secession and self-determination. He also made mention of the fact that Nigerians can live anywhere in the part of the country and, of course, go about their legal duties and businesses without let or hindrance. These are some of the issues we'll be looking at this morning. One particular issue which has continued to reverberate is the issue of restructuring, which have been coming from not only from the southeast but also from the southwest and the south. And of course, some calls have also been heard in the middle belt, talking about the north central and some other northeastern and northwestern part of the northern region who are actually in support of restructuring. Well, Mr. President did not mention restructuring per se, but he did say that the only bodies that have the legitimate and can appropriately handle such issues of national discourse at the National Assembly and the National Council of State. We'll be looking at all this and, of course, looking at all other matters of national importance before we come to our own dear state, the Gateway State. And like I mentioned earlier, we have someone very qualified to look at all these issues. I'm talking of no one else but Ambassador Tunde Oladunjoye, former chairman of Ijebu East Local Government in Ogun State, and of course former deputy governorship candidate of the People's Democratic Party, also in Ogun State in 2011, and now a member of the Governing Council of TASUD, that's Traditionary University of Education in the States. He's also a World Bank consultant. I can also add that to it. And a veteran, of course, a journalist and activist and ambassador of peace. You're welcome.
All right, Ambassador Tunde Oladunjoye. One of the last things about you, Tobi, said is you were an activist. That is correct. Now, no, I know that it's leading me to my question. Um, just 24 hours or about that some group of activists besieged the Abuja House in London. We got report that the president was coming back, and of course that protest was returned or resigned. Opposition have said that protest was why the president have to return back. Um, Having been there before, what do you think?
Well, I think that just first, let me join millions of Nigerians to welcome back our president, and let me wish him a longer life in good health. let me also say that it's very good for me. It's nice to be back at Rock City FM after some years, and I must commend the new level that my colleagues here is taking radio journalism to.
Thank you.
Yes, the first thing I want to say is that it provides comic relief for me personally. If someone or a group says that it is because a protest was made and overnight the president decided to return, where the president have been receiving a lot of visitors while over there. His aides were there and they assured us that he was fine and very soon he'll be coming back home. And I think one of such guests, the last one actually was
Papa Adeboye.
Papa Adeboye. And he
Which
said,
some people still doubted that
and
that picture was not real.
yeah, people have a right to their opinion, but that cannot change the fact, that cannot change reality. The president himself wanted to leave, as he has expressed long time ago, but was waiting for his doctor's order. So if you look at that scenario and you look at the president you saw on air this morning, you will know that this is a president that is fit. His voice, his delivery showed that he's fit and back. I can say that the president is even better now than the last time he returned from the overseas trip. So all those we are the one that made him to rush back are just side attractions, comic relief. And some people have also said that well, very good of you if you are the one that made him to quickly come back. We have people over there. We have Desiani, we have Adoke. Go and stage similar protests and see. Yes, and let us have them come back because they are holding on to some of our patrimony.
All right, Ambassador, let us look at some of the points President Muhammadu Buhari made. First, he talked about reinvigorating the fight against elements of Boko Haram who are trying to launch a new series of attacks on soft target. Kidnappings have also been on the increase. Farmers versus herdsmen clashes. Ethnic violence, which he allegedly said have been fueled by political mischief makers. How do you react to the fact that the president's absence seemed to have renewed this insecurity situation or the security challenges for a very long time? And the fact that he coming out speaking boldly about it, do you think it is going to change anything going forward?
Yeah, let me just first say that in my own opinion, it is not his absence that renews insecurity. What we should do is to learn from even countries of other worlds that are permanently faced with terrorism. You don't rest. It is 20. I think during the struggle we say eternal vigilance is the price of liberty. What I say is that it was as if once the Sambisa forest was cleared, there was a sort of a relapse or a relaxation or a letting down of guards. And as somebody who has traveled in the northeast working for Fadama livelihood support of the World Bank and federal government project, I have a strong view that Nigeria needs to engage more men into the military. We need to recruit more hands, more men into the military. And the way to go about it is that I suggest that we can have maybe we are going to call them a sub-military or paramilitary. We have people on ground who are called this volunteer
force, the local vigilante.
Yes, the local vigilante. They call it local FGF, whatever. They are there and they have been very active in support of the military forays into those forests and hideouts. There should be a way to encourage them further, bring them back, and bring in more, recruit more into the military. It was said not long ago that the federal government will bring a lot of dogs, into the northeast, but you also have to look at who is going to hold the dog. That means once you bring in the dogs, you are already reducing the number of the men that are to be attached to them. Then they also look at the religious belief within that environment. Is it positive towards the sort of animal you are bringing? I have a strong view that we need more men, even in the army, than we are presently recruiting into the Nigerian police.
Before the president came, the acting president met with the service chiefs and ordered them to relocate to Maiduguri, the epicenter of the Boko Haram fight. And do you think this will go a long way to actually stem the tide?
I think one of the things that have gone well for this military and for this government was the moral support that the military men have been receiving from the service chiefs. We have seen on air, on television stations, visitations by service chiefs, army chief of staff. That has not been the case in the past. So that I'm saying that from going from the moral boosting of the military men, we actually need added hands. And of course, equipments are being procured, and more should also be procured. There is nowhere in the world where you will say terrorism has been totally removed. It has ended. Even in the United States of America, they are permanently on the lookout. We saw what happened recently in UK and some other countries. I think it was Barcelona.
Some hitherto quiet unknown countries.
So
Norway,
it
Finland,
is eternal vigilance.
Sweden now.
If you just we have conquered them, the next thing you will hear is that there will be an act somewhere else, which shows that they are not totally. We have to constantly look out and be vigilant.
All right. One issue which, of course, is generating a lot of debate was the mention of late Chief Emeka Ojukwu by the president in his speech. He said that in 2003, when he joined partisan politics, he invited Chief Ojukwu over, and then he stayed as his guest in his hometown in Dara, and for 2 days they discussed about Nigeria and the challenges of Nigeria. And he said he came to a conclusion that the country must remain one and united. President Buhari affirmed once again that the unity of Nigeria is settled and not negotiable. Is it truly so that Nigeria's unity is non-negotiable? If so, would this statement coming from Mr. President deal decisively, once and for all, with the secessionist agitations coming from the IPOB and of course the Southeast?
Okay, thank you very well. Let me take it one after the other. I think the mentioning of late Ojukwu is very symbolic, because you need to learn from the experience of others. There is nobody that has pursued the issue of Biafran state as far, as hard, as deep and wide as Emeka Ojukwu. And apart from what the president said, we have audio-video reports, clips where the man himself said it should never be attempted. Right? So I think it is symbolic, because some of the people in this forefront are even too young to know what actually happened. If you don't bear the brunt of war, you may not really know what happened during that war. So it is a very symbolic reminder. That's number one. Number two, the president says the unity is not negotiable. Let us agree that it is negotiable without conceding that it's negotiable. What are the ways, the platforms, the process of negotiating this unity? It's not by arson. It is not by vandalization. It is not by disruption of public peace. We have, I think it was UK and Ireland. There was this tough discussion about staying. There must be.
It's still on Scotland and Ireland. Is still on.
There must be
Northern Ireland.
Yes, there must be due process. There must be humane civil way of airing your own opinion or dissension. We have our state house of assemblies, we have our national assembly, and we have representatives. No matter how shaky or unrepresentative these bodies or structures are, we still have to explore them. Some of us are not too comfortable with the 1999 Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria, but it is still this same constitution that we are acting on. It is this same constitution that we are being ruled by.
And we must
So
respect it.
we must respect it. You have freedom of your and right to disagree, to dissent, but your freedom stops at where mine start. And if, like our people will say, if you have a good cause and you don't go about it in a good way, you will end up being the accused.
These countries that you mentioned quickly, Northern Ireland, Wales, and the likes, even Britain conducted a referendum recently to exit
Yeah.
the European Union. This has been the norm in saner climes, conducting referendums so that citizens will have a say as regards this. I know that referendum is alien to our constitution, but at the same time, would you say that the only way forward to kill this Biafra agitations or secessionist agenda is to at least step out a bit of the Constitution of the Federal Republic of Nigeria and conduct a referendum so that the people of that region can vote and Nigerians can vote on this
Who
issue?
will conduct the referendum? It is still the structures that we have in place. I am of the view that our leaders should act more about unity than talk more about unity. For example, I made the presentation somewhere yesterday and I said, let us expand our democratic space. For example, what stops us from making our voters card, restructure it, redesign it, and make the holder to be able to use it to vote anywhere in Nigeria? Just like, because you can use your ATM card anywhere in the country. Why will I have to rush from the north to go back home, or from the south, or from the west? All this periodic going back home to vote during the general elections, which is attendant dislocations. We can restructure, redesign, and reinforce our voters card so that you can just vote anywhere.
Anywhere you are.
And that means more people will participate in politics. Go and look at the records, whether presidential election and worst state governorship election. You look at numbers of
Those
registered voters, number of actual voters. You find that many of these people, especially at the state level, are even elected by about 30%.
Less than, sometimes less than 30%.
Yes.
It's usually 20 to 25.
Because somebody feels that to be conversant and to be relevant in my local government or in my town or village, I have to register there. When it is time to vote, it's in Kaduna. What will it take? So why am I bothering myself if I'm in fact those who vote for what are they doing? So we need to do a lot of things that will give a sense of belonging. That's number one. Number two, what are the factors militating against or encouraging dissent? A lot of things are involved, including lack of basic amenities. And that is why I'm saying that the chapter 2 of the Federal Constitution of Nigeria 1999 should be made justiciable. Enforceable. Because you look at that, it said directive principle of state policy. There shall be social rights, there shall be social security, the purpose of governance, the comfort of the people shall be the purpose of the welfare of the people, shall be the purpose of governance. All these are decorated, they are figureheads, they are just used to, they are touted, they are used to taunt the masses. You cannot go to court on it. But if you have a situation whereby the basic amenities are provided, you are sick, you are able to go to the hospital, the child has access to free education, if at least at the primary and the secondary level, a lot of things will go a long way to reduce the stress in the nation. Youths are out. How many youths are qualified to be admitted to university every year? How many have been admitted? So there are these issues that we need to look at. And of course, a lot of things also account for non-delivery of social goods. The biggest thing is corruption. As of today, it's as if it is criminal for you to be honest in Nigeria. And when you go to government and you are in government as governor or as council chairman, and people feel that you are honest, you are not stealing, they will believe as if it's as if you are cursed. Members of your family will mock you, because that is the norm. You are expected to go there and get our own share of national cake for us. But those funds that will have been used for road construction, that will have been used for provision of education, Medicare, and what have you, are the ones that are diverted and go straight into private hands. Because our people are no longer stealing for themselves again. They are no longer stealing for their children. They are stealing for generation yet unborn.
Now, sorry, Tobi. Let's go back to Buhari's absence. Of course, naturally, a wise man will learn from his mistake or events of yesterday. Now he's back. So many things happened while he was away. We talk about the increase in this. We talk about those who still believe he shouldn't have gone overseas. Whatever he needs will have been brought to Nigeria, that communicated into different positions. What lessons do you think the country should learn from these 103 days?
I think it is obvious that we are not yet there as a country in terms of provision of healthcare facilities. And it is so funny, in the last dispensation, I don't want to mention the name, but there was a governor who said he has built a world-class hospital.
Yeah.
I think in South,
yes.
And the governor, yes, the governor later on got involved in a minor accident in Abuja, and he was flown abroad. So what happened to the world-class hospital? And the ridicule of it is that I don't know, but I will be interested to know those who actually treated Mr. President. You will find out that the top doctors we have all over the world, in UK, in America, they are Nigerians.
Even in Afghanistan.
They are Nigerians. They have not, and it started during the military when you have what we call brain drain. What are we doing to bring these people back? What is government doing to source them back, even if it is just on a temporary base before you finally make them, or you are able to convince them to stay at home, before you are able to say this is the gadget you have there. You can find the gadgets in every part of the world. We are talking about Mr. President here. As a nation, the life of an individual is equal to the life of the president. And I know that as a nation, the attention you give to the president should be equal with that is given to the ordinary citizen. Because we are what is our position saying? We are born equal, and what I'm saying so is that you have people in the localities who are sick. The baby, I don't know what will be wrong with the child. The mother will urinate into a bowl and start forcing the child to drink. Why? Because the woman is not even thinking of going to the hospital because the money is not there. Those basic amenities should be provided, and our people, our citizens that are making waves all over the world should, for example, I'm also aware that some of them are already, are actually willing to come back, even if it is temporary. At our own level in Ogun State, we are trying to organize a medical mission of Nigerians from Texas who have gone to places like South Africa as an NGO, as a foundation, and they have built like 200 hospitals free of charge. But here we also have bottlenecks. Somebody is not going to benefit who feels that these people coming from US, they want to go and do this, there's nothing in it for me. They are going to put in place a lot of things to frustrate those ventures or efforts. So my own attitude has always been that let us start from ourselves.
What about from the political scene? Lessons learned. Did the opposition play the role well to ensure that the party in government and of course the presidency acted in consonance with the needs of Nigerians?
Well, I want to say that let us give it to PDP. It has been trying, the party has been trying its best. Some of the ridiculous statements you are getting are not from the party, but some characters
In the party.
who are top members of the party. I say we should give it to the party because this is a party that has been in government for 16 years and they never thought they are going to leave power. So currently I think the party is learning the ropes of opposition, you know. And from what we have seen, even recently with their messages to opposition parties' messages to the president welcoming back, is commendable. But when if you want to oppose, you don't just oppose for being because you are in opposition. There should be acts, there should be facts and figures. You should debate issues, and when you debate issues, you should take the step of one of the best activists that this country ever produced, if not the best, Chief Gani Fawemi. Chief Gani Fawemi has never condemned or criticized any program or policy without offering an alternative. You know, it is not enough for you to just castigate. What better offer do you have, so that your opposition will be seen as being in tune with nation building and not just opposition for the sake of opposition.
All right, Ambassador Oladunjoye, once again, let us look at what the president said about the Council of State and the National Assembly being the appropriate and legitimate bodies to discuss national matters. Before now, the National Assembly also passed the buck to the presidency, saying that the executive should come up with a bill that could accommodate all the concerns about restructuring and, of course, the green agitations. Now the president seems to be passing the buck once again to the National Assembly and the Council of State. This back and forth thing, do you think would eventually translate or metamorphose into restructuring, addressing the issues that are being raised by the different regions and sections in the country?
I think that position has confirmed the kind of person our president is. We are not in a military regime, and like I said earlier, the structures are there. If you have complaints, you have requests, you have agitation, you feel this thing should be renegotiated, you have the National Assembly to take your matter to. Recently, we are talking about constitutional amendments,
Yes,
you know, and we're talking about devolution of power, what have you. The National Assembly went round. Part of what could happen is for the agitators to make their case before these bodies, even if you disagree with them. For example, when this Constitutional Review Committee was set up under the military, I think that was the era of Brigadier Marwa as governor of Lagos State. In the human rights community, we say we are not going to deal with them because we don't recognize them. I, in my personal capacity, appeared before that panel and I told them that you are not going to get anything done because even you are illegally constituted. I made my position known. Of course, later on, we were justified. But if you remove the National Assembly now, where are you taking your case to? I believe that even the National Council of State, as high, as powerful as the body is, cannot be used to replace the National Assembly. And we have our state assembly. When we are even talking about issue of autonomy to the even state house of assembly, it was taken out the state assemblies, and what did we get at the end of the day? It was not passed. Even on matters that I feel that it will be beneficial to the state house of assembly. We cannot abandon the present democratic structures that we have in place. What we can do is to improve on it, is to expand the democratic space. To say we want to do away with it at the wave of the hand is to invite anarchy.
Now, you said we cannot abandon the present democratic structure. Do you think the local government is part of that democratic structure? Because a lot of people said it has been abandoned.
Well, the local government issue is actually another matter entirely. You know, I have bore serious brunt in my agitation for local government autonomy, especially in Ogun State under the last dispensation. As at today, going by the constitution, we still have 3 tiers of government, and I think we cannot totally absorb the attitude of our people, because after each election we retire back to the comfort of our homes. Nobody is taken to task. You don't take to what is your local government chairman up to, what were his promises. You don't take to task what your councillor is up to. In fact, nowadays I don't see political manifestos of local government chairmen. When I was campaigning 2007 to become chairman of Ijebu's local government, I wrote a manifesto which I call Agenda for Progress, where sector by sector we analyze what was in place and we analyze what we will do. And after about a year in government, we call civil rights activists, we call journalists, we sat at a table to review what we promised and what we have achieved so far. You know, so most of the people you find that they just want to be chairman, get security votes, get official car, and people will say up share, my share, and of course that is actualization of their goal. But it is we that we are governed, that we have to continuously ask questions from people we have put in office at all levels.
But how can the people do that when that opportunity is not being given to them to also do so?
They have to continue to insist. Nobody will give you a space. Even in the larger society, you have to create the space. And in Ogun State, for example, recently, as a form of monitoring, the Ogun State governor created what you call consultative
Consultative.
advisory council at the local government level. I am the chairman of for Ijebu East local government. We're asking our chairman, what are you doing? What are the projects you want to do? Because in the first place, we need to also carry the people along. It should be bottom up. Let me give you an example. There was an area in Ikija Ijebu when I was council chairman. I wanted to do drainage, but we approached the Oba Akija of Ikija that we want to provide drainage in your community, and the Oba said no, drainage is not important now. Our electricity supply is connected to another local government. So when there is electricity in my own local government, we don't have. Please help us reconnect and redirect the supply and link us back to our local government first. And we felt that that is what the community wanted. When we were to have budget presentations, before we go for budget retreat, we call a meeting of all critical holders, mechanics, market women, artsmen, and what have you, to come and tell us their view, their wish, their needs, and their want. Don't just sit somewhere and drop it on the shoulder or the laps of the people. But I think at the end of the day, you may be seen to be too outspoken, too blunt, but we still need to question people that we have voted into power.
Okay, Mr. Oladunjoye, before we talk more on local governments, going forward, the president has arrived. What if you were to be an advisor to the president and you were asked to provide bullet points of the things that he must do immediately, what would you put in number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5?
First, I will advise Mr. President on the need to reshuffle his cabinet. Some people, some ministers in the cabinet, in my own view, has turned out to be passengers. There is need to rejig that cabinet. Secondly, I would have loved a situation whereby Ministry of Power is taken out of the current power, works, and housing. I'm saying so because there is no progress that we can make in this country without regular and adequate power supply. And I'm of the view that our economy will be boosted if the hairdresser in Ijebu Itele can have regular supply of power, the welder in Mekwafon. Because we have a situation now whereby there is vigilance for when the electricity will be supplied. And you see welder sleeping in the shop to wake up at 2 a.m. thinking that once there is power and you have to work overnight, once we have regular supply of power, our economy at the micro and the macro level will be boosted. Of course, there have been shady days in terms of selling the national assets, in terms of electricity assets to people who you can even say they have no experience in that area. But we cannot continue to bemoan that. We have to just take urgent action. If we guarantee regular supply of power, it will go a long way. It will even drive more investors from foreign land into our economy, because you will look at a brochure of a business or an organization now saying they will now advertise, or you go to some hotels, they will say standby generator available. That is not a plus in advertising. That says a lot about the environment in which you are working. So if once the cabinet is reshuffled, if the electricity supply is improved and sustained, I would then advise that the president should also focus, and he has said so, security, so that we don't relapse, because the Boko Haram menace actually started with soft target attack before they now grew up to become monster, before they took over the forest. Now they have been cleared, they are out, but they are staying within the community and they have returned to where they started from. So if you don't really confront them now, you find out that they will keep growing and growing back to the worm and the monster that they are, and people will start saying, where are the efforts? So security is key. Then the issue of employment is actually a big thing. The population has grown and is growing. We should look for ways to engage the youth. The military is one of the ways. I'm personally involved in active promotion of youth engagement in farming, and we have other areas where the youth could be engaged, because if we are able to reduce to a barest minimum the level of unemployment in this country, we even have peace in the community, and nobody will be able to attract somebody with a token to come and wear this t-shirt to demonstrate and collect 5,000 and things like that, and what have. So the issue of employment is key. Security is also key, and regular and constant supply of power is
All right,
key.
Daybreak Show Rock City 101.9 FM this morning. We have with us Ambassador Tunde Oladunjoye. We have just about 2 minutes for this segment. We'll take the break for the national news to come after that. We'll be back. But before then, Mr. Oladunjoye, let me get what you think about the president's absence. Appear to have opened up um, a way to structures and governance in Nigeria that it is being built about one particular person. People have said it is the absence of the president that led to this. If he was around, even within his political parties, issues there would have come up. Is this what you think? And is it right? Yes, we have a strong character that people respect as Mr. President. Should that be the way to operate?
I think the absence of Mr. President has shown that the kind of system we run here will thrive better if it is not built around one person. The acting president stood in for Mr. President, and in my humble view, stood in very well, stood in very, very well. He remained loyal to the cause. Don't forget that it is still one ticket. There is no separation between the president and the vice president. And of course, the constitution also had this in mind. The drafters of our constitution, when it was said that in the absence of the president, the vice president will stand in for him. And we not only had the vice president, we had the acting president. We seem to forget quickly. Look at what is happening at the Niger Delta. For a while now, there has been a lull in activities in terms of violence, bombing, kidnapping, and what have you.
All right, we're sorry, we just have to take the break to allow the news to come out. Don't worry, you won't be missing anything. Just stay tuned to Rock City 101.9 FM. We will be back. It's still the Daybreak Show on Rock City 101.9 FM in the city of Abeokuta this morning. We are discussing different national and state issues with Ambassador Tunde Oladunjoye as our guest, former local government chairman, journalist, activist, bringing his experience to bear on these different issues. Before that break for the news, Ambassador Oladunjoye, I asked the question about the building of our institution or government around individual rather than the structure which showed in the absence of President Buhari, where people have to say if he was, even the political party could not hold any meeting because the president was not around. How do we swim around this in future elections?
Well, I want to insist that the absence of the president has shown that the choice of president and Mr. President was a good one. The vice president who acted in his absence stood in well for him, and I think that's the general view of the populace. I don't think and I don't believe that it was the absence of the president that made the party unable to organize or hold meetings. And if you remember correctly, the president, even while he was around, has given the party the avenue to operate almost independently, just as he gave the National Assembly. It is, for me, it is beautiful that while the president was away, the structures and workings of government were on. There was no vacuum except the physical presence of the president who was not around. If you look at during the situation of things during this period, you also realize that even the economic indicators were on the positive rise in the country. So the structure of democracy is not built around one individual. Maybe the president, once the president is out, things will not work, things will crash. And of course, in a democracy, you have dissenting views. People are entitled to their various opinions, and they say, you look at when they talk about budget, they say, the acting president will not sign budget. They will not allow him to sign. He cannot sign budget. I said, what are you talking about? Even former President Obama did sign a national document, a document of national importance with auto pen. Our president can use auto pen. This London is just 6 hours from here, and the vice president or the acting president could sign, and he signed. Before you know it, we had the senior now said the president, the acting president will not swear in ministers. He did. After that, what did we get? He will not assign portfolio. He did. And the latest was that the president was not the acting president was not aware that the president was coming. And a friend of mine, his sister, was asking me via inbox yesterday. I said no, he was not aware. Maybe I was the one expected to receive him. That actually it was when he was going to Lagos, President Buhari now opened the window of his flight, his plane, and said, Shay,
I'm
Yemi,
sorry.
I'm coming. Go back. And when his plane was not going to move, the president put his plane behind it to push him to Abuja. These are distractions. That's why I said opposition should be about issues. Mr. President is back. What are we? What is even the position of the stock market today? Personally, I'd be interested to know. Are we having a boost at the stock market today? What we are
Investors'
recently,
confidence.
yeah, investors confidence. We have had different policies of the government. There's new policy on agric, and people are aware of it. There's new policy on health. These are things we take up, we should assess, and not because my sister that I said was trying to ask me questions yesterday was very angry when I explained that is your house beside beer parlor, and she said what are you saying about beer parlor? I said no, maybe you have an equal B joint or a soon spot beside your house, because these are beer parlor discussions, and you don't want to bring it to national. We have issues. Yes, and one thing I thank the present administration for is that the president has never denied that there are issues. Look at the speech this morning. He has acknowledged the need to boost the security measures. He has acknowledged the need to strengthen our economy. And he has
And he also accepted there are legitimate concerns
yes,
from different
people. That is how to run a democratic administration. We will differ, but let us differ based on principles, with the mind of those in government and those in opposition being patriotic, being about moving our nation forward.
All right, Ambassador, let's bring this home. Dele talked about local government administration earlier and their performance. We've been looking at this for about a week now, and I think it's very important for us to look at it. You were once a chairman of a local government. Now, and we can actually recall that you had issues with the former governor then about how he wanted local government to be run and how you were running the local government, and issues of contributions made to the state government from the local government, and of course the continued debate that governors have actually pocketed local government, uh, corner the allocations that are supposed to go to the local government for the developmental project and purposes, and then leave the local government home and dry. How would you react to all this?
Well, during my tenure, my disagreement with the governor was not about how he wanted to run the local government. My disagreement was against his actual deduction from allocation due to my local government, and I posited and I put it in writing that as a council chairman, I have no power. Not even my legislative house had the power to trade away revenue due to my local government.
Excuse me, sorry. Just last Thursday, a former local government chairman was here who swore that that never happened. That there was no time the then governor deducted anything from any council in the state.
Well,
So it's a contradiction.
unfortunately, I don't want to go to that area by saying that my brother Honorable John Obafemi is a pastor, and I know the church he attends. And I believe that whatever we say here, if we cannot give account, we will give account hereafter. It is a common knowledge in Ogun State under the Benga Daniel that allocation were being deducted. I protested against it. I wrote to the EFCC, and the trial is on now. It is also a common knowledge that there are instances, there are deductions that were made, and there were text messages that I published, whereby you have to bring the check for those deductions to the Ministry of Local Government before you are given your allocation check. And you cannot just wake up one day and put all these things in writing to an organization like the FCC when they don't exist. And it is true that men are not born or made of the same courage, but it is not also good to come to a public forum like this and tell a blatant lie or to hide behind one finger. The people of Ogun State knew what happened, and my own position is that if you remember then, the administration of President Obasanjo with Okonji, what's her name?
Okojo,
Well, they were regularly publishing local government allocation. So when the minister says, as published in the papers, that I have collected 100 million, and I come to Abeokuta and I get 30 million, and I have salaries of 26, 27 million to pay, that is why I protested. And when they were saying it's for secondary school, I mean it's for primary school teachers,
salary.
I went back to my local government. I did audit of local government education authority. My total bill then, local government level, teaching and non-teaching, was 28 million, and 39 million was being deducted. And you people, you are journalists, you are aware that as at then, all local governments in Ogun State were getting equal allocation. And I protested, and posterity is there, and the documents are there for people to verify, even by a click on the Google. So if somebody comes here and says it never happened, I will just do what I did. I will just laugh it off, because tí ẹni tó ń parọ́ ò bá mọ̀, ẹni tó ń parọ́ fún á mọ̀, tí ẹni tó ń parọ́ fún ò bá mọ̀, ẹni tó ń parọ́ lọ́kàn ẹ̀ á mọ̀ pé irọ́ lòun ń pa.
All right, now the issue is yet to abate. The same allegations have been leveled against the incumbent governor, Senator Amusun, that recently, the governor himself lampooned the chairman of local government, that they've been performing below par, and of course they've actually relaxed as regards increasing their IGR. Some people are, especially the opposition parties, are pointing fingers that it is the same thing that has been alleged in the past, that is also happening, that the state government is actually infringing on the responsibilities and rights of the local government, and also cornering their resources and allocation.
Well, what you have said is that some members of opposition, has there been any of those chairmen that have made such complaint? Not to my knowledge. That's number. Number two, when you said the governor was complaining and lampooning the chairman, I was actually out of the country. I got to hear about the news. If the governor does not expect much from them, if the governor is not interested in the local government chairman delivering democracy dividend, he will not openly castigate them. Because I understand that even at that meeting, the governor was calling the cameramen, the journalists, to focus on them, that they will be exposed and things like that. That's a clear departure from the past. That shows a governor that wants people to enjoy the benefits of democracy at the federal level. As at now, the revenue coming to the state, to the local government, has greatly reduced. But my position is that our council chairmen should be more creative with what they do with those allocation, no matter how small that is now coming. For example, there is this proverb that the one that kills what do you call it, midget or cockerel, and does not know how to share it, if the person gets an elephant, will not know how to share it. I know what even 200,000 naira can do in the life of our widows in the local government, because I've been there before. I know what 1 million naira can do in terms of renovation of public primary schools. I can tell you without needing to check records that if I have 2 million naira, I can provide 5 boreholes, motorized boreholes with a generator and with tanks. These are the areas we should look into at the local government level. What is the basic function of the local government? My thinking is that the first function of local government is sanitation. As a local government chairman, you should be interested in the sanitation of your local government. And if you want to know how a local government chairman feels, or his attitude to hygiene, or even his lifestyle, you can get that by the way the entrance to his or our local government looks. If the entrance of a local government looks so unkept, untidy, it says a lot about the personality of the person that is ruling that local government. You cannot clear all these road badges and say that's all. It has to be continuous. And as council chairman, do we even understand our powers as council chairman? As a council chairman, if I have seen that a place or some road badges has not been cleared. All I need to do is to just pick my phone and call my director of works and say, Mr. Director, as I was passing so junction now, there are refuse dumped there. Please, I'm going to the office. When I want to come back, I don't want to meet it there. It is not my business to go and be packing. If we have to put in motion processes to remove it, that is when the chairman himself has shown utmost dedication to his job. So no matter how little, how low this allocation nowadays are, if judicious use is put to it, I mean, if you're able to use it judiciously, it will do a lot. For example, in my own local government area now, we have 7 wards. If you sink a borehole per ward, 5 in a month, let's say it's even it's even borehole you want to do. That means in 5 months you will have done 25. That will be a record that will not have been equaled. So my position here is that our local government administration should be more creative, should look inward, and should also tap experience from those who have passed through the office before, and they are spread all over the state.
Let's look at the other issue, which some people have also identified as impediment to the performance, the ability of local government chairmen to do something. Toby just mentioned the powers of the governor, the influence of the governor, but in the state today, there seems to be no difference. You cannot separate the governing party APC from the government itself, and that's making it difficult. You talk about manifesto and party manifesto. There's no difference. There's no party manifesto. It is the individual's manifesto because there's no APC in the state.
There's APC in the state. There's APC manifesto, and I think the chairmen have decided to key into the manifesto of the party. Of course,
Where is the party in the state? APC.
In all the local governments.
Because what we see
Yes.
is Sia everywhere and over everything.
Let me tell you that you cannot realistically you cannot wish that away in a political setting. And I want to say that it is even more uh, decent under the present administration. We had administration in the state in the past that I was even part of. You must wear a certain color of cap for you to be said as lawyer. And almost every bus stop, every junction is named after the governor. All the transport vehicles, taxi, something bus, something school, something. When this present governor came here and he came into power, he removed all the names. When the state government is running a metro taxi and a metro bus system, you can't see the name of the governor in the on the buses.
But
It was not.
then
It
we
was
still
not
have
like
statements.
it was not like that in the past. We must acknowledge that. You cannot see any building now, this building, this bus stop, this junction. No, it's a clear departure from the past. But I'm saying that even even where the governor does not want, there will be some people, some friends, some loyalists, some people will say, I need to do this for governor. And I know that look at what we have at Kutoran about. That was not what we had in the past now. You'll have seen different banners, different hanging around this thing for life, some Kinikon family and what have you. We are improving. Even as we want to complain against the present, we should not forget where we were
Where we were.
in the past.
Ambassador, before we throw for the studio lines, we'll do just that. The lines are buzzing already, and messages are already trickling in. This 2019 succession of
Yes.
Senator Bikla also has generated a lot of debate.
Mm.
The Yowa Warriors believe this is the best time they can actually get it
Mm.
and occupy the Okemoso government house.
Mm.
The governor said, well, I will support Cookland and Sinka, any candidates from Oku West.
Mm.
The central has said, okay, it is our son that is just about leaving the stage. Let's see if we can support other zones or
Mm.
other senatorial districts. But of course, there is a candidate coming from Ogun Central. Uh, Ogun East, the government said I won't support, but I will not campaign against.
Yeah.
So leaving that flank open for Ogun East. Ogun East, you are part of it.
Yes.
You have the opinion that there is nothing like Yewa. It's only a Black Badu and Ijebu Remo, and so Ogun East should get another term of 8 years after Legba man is leaving that place. What is your reaction to all this?
Well, let me say that politics is by consensus. That's number one. Number two, in all previous gubernatorial elections in Ogun State, we have had candidates from all the senatorial districts in all elections. There have been no elections that you don't have candidates from Ogun West or Ogun Central, Ogun East. And I think finally it is left for the people to determine. We know that by historical antecedents, we know the right place to that this thing should readily go to. Like this thing, if it is to be based on decision between Ijebu and Egba, it should really go to Yewa. But the governor himself has not only given, he's not just saying by fiat he's supporting Yewa. He asked the Yewa people and leaders that have visited him to go and lobby the people from Ogun East, And I think along the line, if the lobby succeeds, we can have a consensus. And in that process, there will also be an understanding that okay, this is what we are going to do this time, and this is what we will do thereafter. It is democracy is about lobbying, it's about persuasion, and I believe that even people from Yewa on their own have not only been moving around, especially in Ogun East, to talk to leaders of thought, including myself. They've also been trying to reduce frictions back home, the sort that have taken the ticket away from them in the past. I don't see the governor as giving a fiat and order. He has openly and honestly expressed his own opinion and what he feels he should do, but he's not ordering anybody. Rather, he's telling the people from Yewa to please go there, go and lobby, go and prove your point, go and appeal. When Ogun East leaders recently visited him, it was the same appeal he made to them.
We must let the listeners be a part of it at this point. I'm sure.
Some messages here. Quickly, this one says National Assembly and National Council of State that consist of majority of Northerners, courtesy Northern ex-heads of state that created 19 states for the North and 17 states for the South, while the worst is even two-thirds of 774 local governments for the North to quarter the nation's wealth and have majority of representation at the National Assembly. You expect these people to support what will deprive them of the born to rule South perpetually? And so Adebo is asking that question. PNB should conduct a credible referendum in Southeast for only Easterners to vote. That will kill and keep Biafra and total peace in Nigeria. War of any kind will kill Nigeria forever. Adewale sent in that one. My name is Yemi from Ijebu. The first thing I will advise the president to do in Ogun State is to make it compulsory for Governor Musso to pay past chairmen and councillors their severance allowance. He has been promising them since last year, December. These people are suffering, and since the governor has no leader in Ogun State to talk to him, and chief imams of Egba, Ijebu, and Yewa are not preaching to him, the past chairmen and councillors are dying. All right, that's Yemi from Ijebu. This one says, it's nice having you again, Ambassador Oladunjoye. What is your view of the present government and infrastructural development and local government handling when compared to past government and your past experience? I can be doing it from the lega sent in that. I glory to Almighty God for quick recovery and safe arrival of PNB. Where is Faroshe, Mr. Talkative? He cannot talk again. I don't think he's a true son of Ekiti State. Because Ekiti people don't talk or behave like that. Okay, that's Abiodu's opinion. Good morning. Can you help us to appeal to our amiable governor to try to improve his scorecard by showering money and paying salaries on workers towards a joyful Salah? So it will be like the last Indian Fitri, please. Ima sent in that one from Obantoko. Answer the question, sir. Is Governor Muslim tampering with local government funds? Was OGD deducting only your funds? That's coming from Chris. No chairman in any local government in Ogun State will ever face Governor Musa on anything. Uh, Ambassador Oladunjoye sitting beside you is not saying the truth about Governor Musa because his resignation letter is with Musa and it can be filed anytime. Is that true? Alright, this one says in the constitutional amendments going on at the National Assembly, approval has been given for local government and state assembly financial autonomies. As a former local government chairman, what is your take about financial autonomy for local government? Secondly, what is the need for a flyover bridge at Ajita to Mokola Lega Junction axis of Adato and Ogada Road, where there is no major road intersection? Alhaji Busura AGA from Kuto. Okay, thank you for your messages. Ambassador, you want to quickly react before we go to it?
Yes, I will rush through because I think it's there are so many. On the issue of INEC registration, I think we still need to ask questions. Some of us who are educated should visit INEC offices in our respective local governments or SCDAs to know where they are operating from, and from there we can also share the information. Some of the problems we have come to face in this country, which I don't find funny, is that even some agencies of federal government like national ID card registration will be waiting on individuals, will be waiting on local government or state government to have offices to buy generator to fuel their generator, and these are agencies of federal government, and these things are not helping matters. In Ogun State, for example, I think I am aware that the governor of Ogun State has raised the issue of registration directly with INEC, and the local government chairmen have been asked to follow up. And I think it's not only local government chairmen. Concerned Nigerians should also ask questions in their respective local government to see what INEC is doing, and how to make more people register and be able to express their democratic rights to vote during elections. The places are, they may not be enough, but they can get people to really know what is really happening. Our man from Ayodo will talk about performance being too low at the local level.
No, you're saying compare it that even your time you were performing, but nowadays it's almost zero level of performance.
Well, I think we have discussed that here before. We talk about revenue, and I also went ahead to proceed that no matter how low the revenue is, we should be more creative. Not only in revenue, we should also look at the area of our IGR, and then we should also look about projects to the embark on. The local government not be able to embark on in capital intensive projects, but what about projects in terms of refurbishment of markets, innovation of primary schools, provision of boreholes, which is even palliative, and so on and so forth. If these projects are implemented, people will be happier. And I want to say that even now, like you are also my witness that the governor called some chairmen out and castigate them and say they are going to be monitored henceforth and things like that. It's because he's interested in difference of democracy getting to people at the local government. The project is solely from the governor. Well, the governor has a lot of projects around the state, and even a lot of people are still asking for more presence of the of projects from the state. The state has more funds. The governor, I don't know, it's like a miracle worker. The way he has turned the IGR of Ogun State from about 750 million to about 5 billion or so, and that has even made me to say that those who has handled our IGR in previous administration should be called to question. How can IGR is 750 be so much transformed? That means there were previous monumental leakages, and that is the way I see it. Well, somebody has spoken about National Assembly, that the issue of National Assembly We can. The point is that we don't have alternative to National Assembly now, and whatever we have to do, whether we agree with the National Assembly or not, we still have to be channeled through the National Assembly. At the state level, we still have to be channeled through the state assembly. That is what democracy is about. But our constant effort should be how to improve on our democratic dividends, how to expand our democratic space. Even in some countries of the world, they are no longer talking about human rights, they are now talking about animal rights, and we get there. So we have to use what we have now to get to where we are going. What is the alternative? You cannot scrap national assembly. What is the alternative to them? We don't want to encourage anarchy. So if you, and of course the judiciary is still there for you to vent your grievances, to seek the interpretation of the court and things like that. Whatever you want to do, whatever dissent, must be done through the instrumentality of the law in ways that will promote peace and order, and not for the breakdown of peace and the rule of law. The governor has been asked to pay past political functionaries. I am one of them, and I'm one of the people that have regularly reminded the governor on the need to pay this money. But at times when you also look at there are some other people that are being hold, that you can even say they are more important. You want to say, okay, let us tarry a while. But I want to lend credence. I'm not saying this for patronage sake. Even after this studio, I will see, as I used to do, also link up with the governor and also continue to plead that this payment is made, even it's going to be part of it, so that other people that have served politically in the state can also give a sigh of relief. Infrastructural state is excellent. In fact, there was a period people were talking about roads, that the roads are expensive, and I said I prefer a road to be expensive and that it will last long. I have suggested that the governor should enter into a bond with people handling the roads of construction to give us a guarantee that this road will not collapse in 10 years, this bridge will not collapse in 20 years. Because if you look at what is being spent now to reconstruct Lagos Ibadan Express Road, less than 10% of it will have been spent if the roads were so widened during the initial construction. So what is really happening now is that the projects I've seen, the bridges I've seen, are going to endure in terms of the quality of the job delivery. And I think some people are actually, maybe some members of opposition are also paranoid that if this bridge will remain here, that means in 10, 20, 40 years to come, people will still have to refer to Governor Mosun. Just as today we are still referring to Obafemi Awolowo on Liberty Stadium, on NTA and things like that, Cocoa House and what have you. And I believe that if another person can still come and look at other areas where he can also put his name in enduring legacy. Governor Fayose, I don't have any comment on Governor Fayose. I said it openly 2 years ago that I will not make a comment on Fayose, because I know, and I know somebody who is busy writing all these scripts for him, and I see as somebody who is on his way to self-destruction. Look at the embarrassing that happened yesterday. As a governor, you are reacting to a statement you have not confirmed that a public holiday has been declared. If you know what you are doing and you know the personality of President Buhari, will he encourage a national holiday because he has returned? Even the one in Kogi is embarrassing. And if for a state government to go and react to that, and this same government just said it last week, that he's now going to buy into school feeding program, because with the review he has done, he has been informed that it's going to benefit students, it's going to benefit workers, it's going to benefit farmers in Ogun State. Why don't you do that review? Because before you blatantly, on the platter of gold, on the platter of the spur of the moment, you just said we are not participating. It has been done in other states. Even UNICEF has bought into the program, UNESCO has bought into the program. Suddenly now you are now saying you have now been told it has been investigated. I think we should tarry a while. He is a Christian, and I read somewhere in the Bible, I don't know how to put that in English language, yára láti gbọ́rọ̀, lọ́ra láti fèsì. That you should tarry before you make response to even news or information that may come to you. So that is that. On the issue of deduction, I said it, I've not only said it, I've put it on paper, that as a council chairman, with all facts and figures at my disposal, the last governor was deducting my allocation. I oppose it. And if anybody feels strongly also with or has any claim as far as the present situation is concerned, the person is also free to come out.
I think the question
What I have
is
seen,
the deduction, was it just from your own local government?
it
or
was
the
from
20?
all the local governments. We are even being given equal. Even let me tell you, when I went to EFCC and I said the government is sharing our allocation equally, the FCC, the leader of the team said, no, chairman, you can't say that. Is it the same land space? Is it the same population? Is it the same number of primary schools? You can't come and tell us it. I said, okay, this is the document. This is the document from the Ministry of Finance. Ogun State itself. And
The country at large. Kudos to him. Oduwole once again says on the issue of allocation deduction by the last administration, if the person being lied to doesn't know, the liar knows he's lying.
yes,
The president is back. I want him to face the necessary issues at hand and give urgent attention to what he really needs. Yemi Da Vinci says, I want to express happiness that President Buhari is back in the country. If only bomb blast victims can get same level of health care. Lawal says, God bless the guests for putting the record straight on local government contributions in the immediate past administration. John Obafe and PDP have not been able to tell us the truth, which is constant. Sola Jami says, Honorable Oladunjoye is a man of virtue, a man I admire a lot, and I salute your courage always, sir. Yemi Da Vinci says, Mr. President's speech was long on rhetorics and short on actionable points. We can use metrics to measure. It refused to address what we want. Okay, Yemi Da Vinci once again, the president has not fulfilled any of his campaign promises. Blaming oil prices is not tenable, as that shows lack of proactiveness. Okay, Ere Jobi Yusuf says the president is back. Good. Let him get back to work and earn the people's trust and confidence. He has lost a lot of that. Honorable Oladunjoye, I think we will see a dip in the stock exchange today with President Buhari's return.
okay,
As
that's
it no
a
longer
pessimist.
inspires confidence. Are you sure? Gwemshola Jamiu says what we have in our local government today is just the politics of come and chop, where the governors repay their loyalists. Okay, I think that's much we can tell you.
Yeah, that's quickly.
Messages.
Yeah.
Your final.
My final word is that one, we need to be hopeful. We need to be optimistic on our nation, and we should not delegate what is expected of us, even as an individual, in our responsibility and obligations to our nation. The president will not do everything. His cabinet will not do everything. The governor will not do everything. The chairman will not do everything. What are we doing as an individual? To ourselves, in our family, and what have you?
I think we should all go home, hold that question. What are we doing as individuals in our homes, in our community, and in our nation? Well, this is where we will end it today. Many thanks once again, Ambassador Tunde Oladunjoye, for coming all the way to Rock City FM. Thank you. And of course, to everybody there who been a part of it, I also say God bless you all. God bless Nigeria. God bless Rock City. Dele, Ayodo is my name.
And I am Tobi Joseph. Have a wonderful Monday.
Thank you.